Hi, and welcome back to our Advanced Squad Leader tutorial series. I know that we have been going over the different phases of an ASL player's turn, but I would like to show you how to interpret a scenario card and then play it through my first live person videos so that you can see how the game flows. That, mixed with turn sequence discussions, will make this great game make sense. If you can get to the point where the basic rules are internalized, then you will go from a gamer to a hobbyist in the best tactical board game ever created. With that in mind, we will go to the scenario card of a small but well-balanced tournament-sized scenario. ASL Scenario T, Pavlov's House. The first part, obviously, is the name and the picture. This serves to get you into the mindset of the scenario and to liven up the card. The picture will usually depict the troops involved or a particular weapon or aspect of the battle. Underneath the picture is the most important part of the card, the victory conditions for the scenario. Let's take a look at these conditions and take them apart. A good order squad is one that is neither berserk, engaged in close combat, or broken. So, if there are no good order Russians in this building at game end, then the Germans win. By default, then the Russian wins by avoiding the German victory conditions. The next important matter is the location and date. This scenario takes place in Stalingrad, which is on the Eastern Front, and in October 1942. For terrain purposes, that means grain is not in season, and orchards are not in season. Therefore, all grain hexes are open ground, and any orchards are hindrances only. Because we are on the Eastern Front with the Russians in October 1942, the Russian player has the option of trading in either his 9-1 or his 8-1 leader for a Commissar. No special rule is needed for this. It is a characteristic of the Russians. After reading the date and location, the historical setup for the battle is in the text below. Next is the turn record for this scenario. This scenario is 6.5 turns long, and the Russian does not get to move on the 7th turn. Finally, these are the orders of battle of both sides for the game, along with their respective setup locations. The players decide which side they want. Usually this can be done by each player taking a piece of the side they want to play and revealing it at the same time. If both people want the same side, they can dice for it, where they roll one die and the lower die gets the side he wants. The other player takes the other side and receives the balance. So if both sides picked Russians, then the player who received the Germans would also get the German balance, which in this case, the tank gun would not set up HIP. If the reverse was true and both sides wanted the Germans, then the Russian player would get the Russian balance, where the German tanks would arrive a turn later. After that, you go down to the Special Rules section. Special Scenario Rule 1 is environmental conditions are moist. This is important because in the midst of battle, fires will start and they can spread, making it more difficult or easier to win a scenario. No wind at start means that the winds will not be fanning flames or stopping smoke generation unless something changes. During the wind change die roll in the rally phase. And finally, killing not allowed means that terrain cannot be started on fire on purpose. Special Scenario Rule 2. Place the overlays as follows. Overlays are used to change a map to make the scenario more like the historical event or to balance out the scenario to make it more playable. In either case, they need to be placed the right way. To accomplish this, all the overlays larger than 1 hex have a 1 and a 2 written on them. Those numbers help in the orientation and placement of the overlay on the map. Overlay OG1 only has 1 hex, so it just gets placed on hex 7. And in this case, is replacing the wooden building in X7 with open ground. OG4 has 4 hexes in it, so the number 1 is placed on X2, and the number 2 is placed on Y3, thus causing the first half of that large stone building to be converted to open ground. Finally, OG5 is placed with its number 1 on W5 and its number 2 on W4. Thus causing the rest of the large stone building to be converted to open ground. The trick of placing the overlays is to have them not get damaged and to not damage the boards they are stuck to. I find the best thing for this is poster tape. I use the 3M red poster tape. Don't use regular tape or the boards will get damaged as well as the overlays. The last thing to do, if possible, is place the map under plexiglass. At this point, we compare the board with the depiction seen on the card, and make sure we have north pointing in the right direction. We will place the rubble in 1z6 and carry out SSR3 when the players sit down to play the game. I hope to do that with a movie feed as opposed to still shots, because that will bring to light one of the most important aspects of Advanced Squad Leader, which is rubble creation. The last special rule is Special Rule SSR4, which states that all Russian units are Fanatic. This rule is important to review because units can become Fanatic through the course of any game as well. Put simply, Fanatic troops have their normal morale and broken morales increased by 1. They do not cower, and they do not have to pass a morale check before attacking an AFV, better known as a patsy. They do not surrender by the route method, and they do not disrupt. Instead of going through each of these rules, we refer to them if they come into play during the course of the scenario. With all that being said, let's look on the streets of Stalingrad right before the ill-fated German artillery barrage and attack. This ends our video on the setup of an ASL scenario. I hope you found it enjoyable and useful. Please remember that this and all our videos are meant to give you enough confidence to dive in and have some fun playing this great game. The best way to learn the game is to play it and don't worry about making mistakes. Learn from a more experienced player, perhaps go to one of the many ASL tournaments throughout the country, like the Nor'easter in Boxborough, Massachusetts, and the New York State ASL Championships in Albany, New York. If you like this and our other videos, please like us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions, contact us at jdhobbies@live.com, www.antoinetteshobbies.com, and find us on a Google search at J&D Hobbies Massapequa Park. And like always, thanks for watching.